Enzo Maresca began his tenure at Chelsea, and in our video today, we are trying to do a series on how Enzo Maresca has transformed Chelsea so far, looking on all the three phases of play that Chelsea had last season and how they have changed from the way they play this season. So, Chelsea find themselves in 11th position, and last season they were actually a bit higher in the Premier League table. Similar points, though this season Chelsea have scored more goals compared to last season, and they have just had one win, one loss, and one draw, and that is a true reflection of where Chelsea are. So in our video today, we're going to mainly focus on how Chelsea look to play from the back and what tactical changes have they made in their build-up structure. And is this going to inform how Chelsea are actually going to improve under Maresca in the games to come? As we know, it's quite earlier on in his time at Chelsea. As we also look at this, we also know that there's a huge conflict between Todd Boehly and Begdad Eghbali at Chelsea Football Club, and we'll do a live stream show tomorrow to address these concerns. So, what has Enzo Maresca done? And in our video today, we are going to generally focus on one key area in Enzo Maresca's system, looking at how tactically he has managed to improve Chelsea and how tactically he's looking to actually look to transform Chelsea into a winning machine this season. Before we even begin our analysis, do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. So Enzo Maresca has preferred to line up Chelsea in a 4-2-3-1 structure with the following personnel making the starting 11. And this is starting 11 that to me looks to be the Chelsea's best starting 11, especially looking at the back line and some key injuries to key players. Now today we are going to look at how Chelsea are building from the back. How has Enzo Maresca managed to improve Chelsea's initial phase of play? So building from the back is actually looking to draw opponents high up through your passing so that you can create spaces further forward so that you can manage to beat them. So Chelsea's main aim building from the back is to look to try and draw opponents to press them aggressively high. This heavily relies on having players to be so competent on the ball so that they can be able to evade pressure and generate numerical advantages for the team in most dangerous places. Now, because if Chelsea decide to play from the back, they are inviting pressure closer to their own goal, which is quite threatening because if they lose the ball here, they are more likely to get punished. But Chelsea are looking to even take that initiative. But is this different from how Mauricio Pochettino looked to play Chelsea? And the answer is yes, because Mauricio Pochettino was not so heavily relying upon building from back and sometimes would choose to go direct. Let's look at some slight variations. So first of all, Mauricio Pochettino was using Petrovic in goal, and Petrovic was not quite the best player of the ball at his feet, but rather a player who just looked to either launch the ball long to wingers or center forwards or to pass the ball directly to the center backs. Now, Mauricio Pochettino was unique in the role he had for his fullbacks in that he did not want his fullbacks to start deep during build-up to generate options for his center backs, but rather he wanted them to push high up aggressively. And he wanted to replicate this because that is what he used to do at his time at Spurs. And the reason why he wanted to do this is so that he can have his fullbacks occupying the wide areas and looking to actually give the team an outlet, especially the center backs and the goalkeepers when they have the ball. Now, when you have the fullbacks high up, then the center backs would split on either side of the goalkeeper and the two holding midfielders will drop deep so that he can create that 3-2 structure. But his main aim was so that he can have just 4 players during build-up, but have many players in the offensive area, so that if the opponents choose to even move 4 against 5 of his players, well, he's using his goalkeeper here, and the wingers decide to go for the center backs while the front two decide to sit on his 2 pivots, then Mauricio Pochettino can just instruct his goalkeeper to go and pick the fullbacks. In this case, the goalkeeper, if he's covered and the center backs are covered, then the goalkeeper has the option of just hitting the ball out wide, because when you look at this structure, you already have fullbacks in wide areas who can generate options for the goalkeeper. And this was not a bad approach. But the problem is when you have the ball in, when you try to play the ball over the top, sometimes it can give the opponents the chance to actually use their fullbacks to squeeze in, something that Liverpool did aggressively against Chelsea by shifting their fullbacks to cover Chelsea's fullbacks and having their centre backs go 1v1 with Chelsea's front three. And that is something that can also happen. Or alternatively, teams might also deploy their two double pivots to shift across to cover these players, something that we saw Gravenberch do in the game against Manchester United. Do not forget to check that video in my second channel. Now, when you realize that this was one way that Pochettino wanted to do it, by overloading the midfield by having his fullbacks play as wingbacks, we see a slight variation with how Enzo Maresca is preferring to line up his team. He's preferring to play his team. He's preferring to use his fullbacks, his central midfielders, and his central defenders, as well as the most important player in this phase, the goalkeeper. So how is Enzo Maresca doing this? So Enzo Maresca's first slight variation is that he wants his fullbacks to be deeper during build-up. He does not want them to play high. So, and they do not play deeper in the way that we expect, but differently, the Maresca way. Now, when you look at this clip, you can see the kind of structure that Chelsea have created. The two center backs, two holding midfielders, and fullbacks. Look at the position of the two fullbacks. The two fullbacks are deeper compared to Mauricio Pochettino's system. The fullbacks are deeper to give the center backs passing options and to draw more players to the back. Now, when the position of the fullbacks is in this way, then Chelsea are able to draw in as many as 6 players. They have 7 players in build-up, and they're able to pull in 6 players to press them, allowing the front 4 to be 4v4 with the opposition's backline. But here we see a slight difference with Maresca, in that he wants one of his starting pivots to push high up. In this case, Enzo Fernandez is expected to push high up and actually occupy the left half space position. Why is this so? The reason why Maresca wants this is that he wants to have a +1 in attack. He wants to have an extra play in attack, so that when Chelsea bypass this pressure, then Chelsea will have numerical advantages running against the opposition backline. And that's where you have players like Fernandes and Palmer looking to occupy those positions high up. And when they occupy this position high up, the dilemma is on the opposition's midfield, whether they should sit off and allow Chelsea to build through them, or they should press high. And this is because Chelsea have created a numerical overload in midfield. Another thing that we see with Maresca in this system is how he's able to utilize his goalkeeper and how he's able to position his team in a way that it actually interferes with the opponent, because now the goalkeeper will have space on the ball if the center backs are covered, and he can play the ball forward where he has numerical advantage. You can see this at the game against Manchester City, the position of the goalkeeper being the free man. And if Manchester City have committed a lot of players, then Chelsea also have a lot of players high up who they can look to hit with the ball and immediately open up Manchester City in this fashion. Now, if the opposition decide to press with that 2, then Chelsea have an option of moving to a back 3 by the goalkeeper stepping from his goal line and the 2 center backs splitting on either side of the goalkeeper, enabling the goalkeeper to have 2 ready passing lanes immediately he receives the ball. As you can see here, you can look at the position of Colwill, the position of Fofana, and you can see they have split high and wide of Robert Sanchez, stretching the opposition. And also you can see the position of the 2 double pivots in Fernandes and Caicedo. Now, one way that Enzo Maresca wants to create a double pivot, a 3-2 structure, is by having one fullback invert in that midfield. So this is something we saw later on in Mauricio Pochettino's system, but it's something that we've seen with Maresca, with sometimes Cucurella or Malo Gusto coming in field and actually creating a dummy movement where they can easily receive the ball from the goalkeeper. We saw this time and time again against Wolves, when Marc Cucurella will receive the ball directly from Robert Sanchez in this position. And once he receives the ball from this position, him being not covered by the winger actually enables him to have that space. As you can see from this clip, the position of Malo Gusto in build-up as Moises Caicedo has pushed forward now to generate that space and strength for Chelsea in the wide areas. Now, the reason why you have your fullback in this position is because he will be unpredictable and you cannot be able to spot him when he actually makes this run in field, because now he's able to give his teammates more option while building from the back. Now, what happens in this case is that you have already a wide overload in this kind of form, because now one area of the pitch is overloaded by having a fullback starting wide while the other inverting. And because you also have numerical advantage up top, the owners will now be on the positions of the other fullback in this kind of setup, in that one fullback will drop into the backline if you are just being pressed with one player while the other will push forward. And this is an example when you're facing a one-man press, and the Chelsea will automatically shift into a pseudo back four with a goalkeeper playing as either the right or the left-sided centre back, something that we've seen Maresca do that is quite transformative this season. In this clip, you can see the position of Robert Sanchez. He's playing as a right-sided centre back. Fofana has moved to the right back position, and now Gusto has come in field together with Lavia in that midfield position, or sometimes he has gone high and wide to occupy the wide area, allowing Lavia and Caicedo to play as the pivots. Now, when they look to take up this position, the team already has numerous passing options, 4 players playing at the back line and 2 players in those holding midfield positions. So you have 6 players outnumbering the opposition's 4 players who are pressing. And having a goalkeeper who's composed in this system allows him the ability to actually step onto the ball, draw in pressure, and look to pass the ball to his centre backs or central midfielders, as well as maintaining numerical advantage higher up. If the opposition midfielder decides to tuck in midfield to cover this pivot player, then more problems also open for the opposition, because now they will have to look for a way to compensate by either having one of the attacking midfielders in the half space drop into the pseudo left wing back position to receive the ball directly from the goalkeeper, something that we've seen Enzo Fernandez do against Wolves, something we've also seen Guardiola use with Gundogan at Manchester City, or Bernardo Silva, looking to drop into this pseudo left wing back position, receive a long ball from the goalkeeper or the centre backs, and once he receives the ball in this position, he's able to receive the ball and look to run with the ball in field. And once he looks to run with the ball in field, we also see the central forward dropping deep, so that he can give him passing options, because remember, you have to give your opponent, your player, at least 2 passing options in this kind of fashion. So in this case, if he drops deep, pulls a centre back out of position, then Cole Palmer will be looking to make that run in behind, drawing him the centre back and the full back. And now the attacking midfielder here has 2 options, either to play the ball to Palmer or to look to make a quick switch of play to Noni Madueke, something that we saw Chelsea do time and time again. And this kind of format and this kind of structure of trying to have your your attacking midfielder starting in the wide area is a very transformative thing that we've seen from Chelsea, indicating that Chelsea are able to adjust their position in a need-to-need basis throughout the game, so that they are able to get the best and a clear advantage over the opponent. When you look at this clip, you can see how Chelsea are able to maneuver the position of Nicholas Jackson, who drops deep, pulling a centre back out of position, and you can see the position of Cole Palmer in that right half space position, and Noni Madueke looking ready to try and attack that space in behind. Now you can see that Chelsea are able to play a quick 1-2. Jackson is able to muscle his defender and is looking to immediately run in that space vacated by the defender, giving Jackson that extra advantage, though Jackson was not quite fruitful in this position, as he immediately lost the ball and put Chelsea under much jeopardy. This is a very, very, very serious problem for Chelsea in this case. Another silver bullet is the deployment of Cole Palmer. We know Cole Palmer is when he plays this free number 10 role. We even saw in the game against Manchester City, Palmer looking to drop deep when his teammates are being covered so that he can receive the ball directly from the goalkeeper in areas where he cannot be followed or tracked. But this also gives a problem to Chelsea because it takes a player from Chelsea's attack and kills the creativity of Palmer. But in times when Palmer is able to receive this ball in these kinds of zones, he's able to drive with the ball forward and look to occupy the half space region while creating overloads together with the wingers, something that he has done effectively with Noni Madueke. Now, in this kind of fashion, when they create this 2v1, they're able to number the opposition fullback and put the fullback in a side, in a type of limbo, whether to cover Palmer, whether to cover Noni Madueke. And this is a very tactical problem for an opponent. And if he decides to cover Palmer, then Noni Madueke can receive the ball, and vice versa can also happen. And this is something that you can see it's a transformative segment from what Chelsea used to do last season. So looking at the first part of our analysis in terms of the build-up play, you can see there's some distinct changes from how Mauricio Pochettino used to build up and how Enzo Maresca is building up. For example, the position of fullbacks is quite different, and Mauricio Pochettino, the fullbacks will start high and wide. The wingers will start in field, looking to play in those half space positions. In Maresca's system, the wingers are the ones who generate the width, and the spaces closer to the central forward and the spaces in the half spaces are occupied by attacking midfielders. There is also a heavy reliance on the goalkeeper Roberto Sanchez during build-up. There is a heavy reliance on ball-playing centre-backs, and there is a heavy reliance on central midfielders who are able to receive the ball under pressure and who are able to make quick decisions to pass, outplay the opponent, and make quick switches of play. These are some of the transformative methods that Enzo Maresca has employed at Chelsea that are actually going to see Chelsea move a step closer in looking to try and come back and try and challenge the league from the big boys. This is a very interesting phenomenon from Chelsea, and we look forward to handle the next part of our video looking at how Chelsea are tactically evolving and transforming under Enzo Maresca. Wait for that video and not forget to check out our second channel. Thanks for watching and see you again later.